Hey there, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to an Empower Financing live session. It takes Zoom a few seconds or so to let people into the webinar, so we'll get started in a minute or so, but great to have everyone here. If you intended to come to an application walkthrough, you've made it the right spot. And so while we wait for everyone to be admitted into the webinar, I have a few tips so you can get the most out of this live session. The first is at the bottom, you'll see something that says Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And in that Q&A field, you'll be able to ask us questions throughout the entire live session. We have some staff on hand available to respond to anything you may want to know. I will say that you're more likely to get a really great response in the beginning. If you leave us a question in the last 5-10 minutes, especially if it's complex, it's harder for us to get back to you quickly. So I recommend asking questions as soon as you have them versus waiting to the end if you can. The last tip is if you have a very specific question, potentially about your loan application with us, if it's a really specific question about your case, we'll have to go look up your account in order to get back to you. We most likely won't be able to answer that right during this session. So I highly recommend if you have a question like that to leave the email address associated with your account in the chat, and we'll get back to you later once we have a bit of time to look up your case and get back to you quickly. So those are my 3 tips for everyone. I think that's given most of our attendees some time to join. So hello, welcome. My name is Claire Almand. I'm an Associate Director of Marketing here at MPOWER. And I've actually been here, I guess 6.5 years now. And so just something that's really impressed me over my tenure has been just how passionate this company is of former international students. They want to make the journey for future international students better. And here with me today, I have a few former international students, some of our loan experts who are going to introduce themselves for you, as well as answer all of your questions. But before we do that, I'm going to launch a poll to learn just a bit more about you. And you should have just received that. Great. And so while you're answering that, I'll have each of our panelists introduce themselves, and I will start with Silver. So over to you, Silver.
Hi, everyone. This is Silver. Yes, I'm one of the former international students. I work at MPOWER. And I also work at the marketing team as Claire. I'm a marketing manager. And I'm from China. I came to the US to study for my master's degree, and I stayed here and find a really good job at MPOWER Financing. And very happy to be here to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Silver. Over to Ron.
Hey everyone, my name is Ron, and like Claire, I've been at Empower for a long time as well, going almost 7 years now. And currently, I'm the senior manager for the underwriting team. And yeah, a little bit of background about me. I came to the US in 2015. I was a former international student. I did my studies in finance, and after that, actually joined Empower as my first job. So I've been here for like 7 years now, and I'm really looking forward to the session. Hopefully, I can answer all your questions. So yeah, thanks for joining the session, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron. And last, never least, Suryaveer. Over to you.
Hi everyone, this is Surya. I have been with Empower for almost more than 2 years now, and it has been a phenomenal journey here because understanding the applicants' concerns, the root causes of their requirements, it has been an awesome journey, like supporting each applicant and understanding what we can do for them makes me work even more harder every day we log into the system. So I'm presently the team lead here in customer relations and would be happy to answer all your concerns regarding your application queries today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, panelists. And so I see we still have many people that need to answer our survey. So you have until the end of my really long sentence to get your responses in. We use these to make sure the session is tailored to your experience. So, please answer if you can. We'd love to learn more about you. And that's about as long as I can talk. So ending the poll. Great, and so you all should be able to see the responses as well. And today it looks like we have 82% from Africa, which is awesome. Great to see such great representation. Then 10% from South and Southeast Asia. And then a smattering from the rest of the world, 2% East Asia, some Europe, and North America as well. Great to have everyone. Lucky, MPOWER helps students from every continent around the world. So I'm pretty confident we'll be able to help you today with some of our solutions. But who are you? Which best describes you? 56% of you are still thinking about studying, which means you're planning your journey early. We love that. Then 20% have applied to study or have been conditionally accepted by the school. Best of luck to you. And then 17% have been accepted to study. Congratulations. And then last 7% of you are currently enrolled in school and likely living your dreams. It's great to have everyone. And then last, oh no, there's 4 questions. My bad. I want to learn about top response today is everything. That is great. We'll cover everything. Next, we have our loan application process. Conveniently, that's what this session is about. So that is great. And then as well, there's a mix of MPOWER scholarships and MPOWER's product info. We'll definitely cover everything. And then last, what do you prefer? Listening to music or a long drive? Who wrote this question? Why not both? All right, ignoring that completely. I would go with both. It's clearly not an answer that we allowed you all, but my answer. Silver, what about you?
I think I have the same answer. It will be really sufferable if there's no music and there's a long drive. Yeah, both.
Fun fact, Silver is currently learning to drive. So I'm sure she's very excited to put some music on. Ron, what about you?
My answer is going to be both, but if I have to choose, I would go with listening to music.
Right, listening to music. And then Suryaveer, what about you?
Absolutely. A long drive cannot go without a music. Then there is a cause I can't drive that much then. So yeah, music is my energy to drive that long. Yeah.
Great. So thank you for everyone who helped to respond to that and had to choose the really tough question, driving or music. But we are going to just jump right into the webinar content. But it looks like many of you, about 2/3 of you, are still thinking about studying and may not know a lot about MPOWER yet. So no problem. I'm going to turn it over to Silver, who's going to introduce the company to everyone. So Silver, do you mind talking a little bit about what MPOWER does, given many people here might not be familiar?
This is my favorite question. Thank you for asking that. So MPOWER, we provide financial support to international students studying in the US and Canada. And I see that actually about 60% of you are still thinking about studying overseas. And if you're doing that as international students, that I think is worth to mention that you will find it very difficult to find funding. If you need more funding to pay for your tuition or living expenses in the US or Canada. So unlike local students, international students often face barriers that if you want to apply for federal student aid, that you will find that you are not eligible. And if you go to private lenders or banks, that you may find that they require a cosigner or collateral from you to apply for their loan. And so here comes MPOWER. As a public benefit corporation, our mission is to bridge this gap. Specifically, we specialize in providing student loans without the need for a cosigner or collateral. And the method we're using to review and approve your loan application is also very innovative. Instead of focusing on your past financial history or your family's financial situation, we evaluate your future earning potential based on your academic performance to approve your loans. For example, we will look at your GPA, your major, and other aspects like that.
Thank you so much, Silver. So we are a financial services provider to international students. I'm sure the next question they want to know is, do they qualify, or how do you qualify for MPOWER's loan?
Yes, that's a good question too. So if you want to submit an application now or sooner future, make sure that you need to meet our eligibility requirements. And we have 3 aspects to determine that if you're eligible. First one is that We support students studying at over 400 colleges and universities across the US and Canada. So you need to attend or get accepted to one of those 400 eligible schools. And the second criteria is that at the time that you get in our loan, that you need to be within 2 years of graduating of your program or about to begin a 1 year or 2 year program. This timing is very important. You need to be within 2 years of graduating your current program or about to begin a 1 year or 2 year program in the future. And the third aspect is that you need to be either an international student or DACA recipient or US citizen or refugee or asylum seeker. And if you are a refugee or asylum seeker, that you will need to provide documentary for us to verify.
Documents for us to verify versus a documentary, although I'll take a
Oh,
documentary.
yes.
If you want to apply with a documentary, I might watch. But so we've talked a little bit about what MPOWER does. We've talked about how to qualify. But what makes MPOWER a good choice for international students? Or why do you recommend MPOWER Silver?
Okay, so here I have a slide that I want to show you guys. One second. So here you can see, so what makes MPOWER different? We want to empower international students like you to fund your overseas education independently. So with this objective in mind, sorry about the noise. If you guys can hear, I think there's a construction upstairs. So there are 3 features that makes MPOWER different. And the first feature from left on your screen is that we do not require cosigner or collateral. This allows you to apply independently without involving your family. And our unique credit model evaluates your academic performance, as I mentioned before, to estimate your future earning potential, which is a very different approach compared to traditional banks. And the second feature is that our interest rate is fixed. We are the only company, and very proud to say that, we're the only company in the world that provides fixed interest rate to international students without a cosigner. Fixed interest rates means that your rate remains the same throughout the entire time while you repay the loan. So even if the global interest rate increases, your rate will not increase. And this makes your financial planning every month very easier, like since your payment will not change over the long term. And the third feature is that we disperse your loan to your school in US dollar. And this helps you to protect you from inflation and changes in foreign currency value, meaning that with an MPOWER loan that you don't need to risk arriving overseas with less US dollar or Canadian dollar than you thought you are. And these are the 3 features that I'm very proud that MPOWER offers.
So this is amazing information, Silver. We just offer a really great loan product for those seeking to go abroad to a new country, but I know we do a lot more than just providing loans. Can you tell everyone here a bit more about the other services we provide?
Yes, MPOWER is a public benefit corporation, which means that we are a mission-driven corporation. We are committed to helping international students like you in any way possible. So to do that, we offer 3 programs that you can benefit from. And the first one is our referral program. If you refer a friend to MPOWER, for every successful referral, you get $300 in reward, and your friends also gets $100 in rewards. So how to refer a friend? We have this webpage, and I think one of our chat moderators will send it in the chat box right now. And you go to our refer a friend page and create your unique referral link or referral code. Make sure you have your friend use your link or code to submit a loan application with MPOWER. And once your friend's application gets approved, and you will get US $300 in rewards. And once your friend accepts a loan and it's dispersed, and your friend will also get $100 in reward. And you don't need to be an Empower customer to refer friends. There's no limit on how many referrals you can make. The second program we offer is a merit-based scholarship programs. We offer scholarships with awards of up to $10,000 per person. We have 5 signature scholarships: Global Citizens Scholarship, Women in STEM Scholarship, MBA Scholarship, and the scholarships that we offer for refugees, and also a scholarship we offer for Chinese citizens. It's called Chasing Dreams Never Ends. In addition, each month, we also host a contest where you can win a share of $3,000 in scholarship awards. To apply, we also have a scholarship webpage that you should visit. And there are also other criteria that you also need to meet for each scholarship. So make sure you go to the webpage for each scholarship and read the details, and make sure you submit your application before the deadlines. The third program we offer is a Path to Success program. This is to support you in job research, immigration resources, and money management. Yes, we want to help you even after you graduate. We want to help you to secure a job. We host Path to Success live sessions like this one. It's a 1-hour live session every month. So if you are an Empower customer, you are free to join. You will receive emails, newsletters, and in your inbox, and you will have all the benefits that offered by this program. For example, career coaching, resume review, mock interviews, one-on-one sessions, like all the benefits to help you to secure a job in the US or Canada or other countries. So these are the perks if you become Empower customers.
Thank you so much, Silver. So Silver just told you all a little bit about what MPOWER does. We're a public benefit corporation, which helps students with financing when they go to the US or Canada. You know about some of our strongest features: no cosigner, no collateral, fixed rate payments, so you don't have to worry about that changing. And then Silver also talked through some of the other things that make us a great choice for international students: scholarships, our full prem program to make money, and our Path to Success career services program. So thank you so much, Silver. But before we jump into the application walkthrough, one of the questions we received a lot in our previous live sessions is sort of, what's the value of my degree, or what return on investment can I expect for this really big decision? And so Ron's going to walk you through a little bit about how he experienced his journey, as well as how we see the student journey looking for those that take a degree abroad. And so Ron, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. So the example that I'm going to take you guys through is a person who was studying in their home country. They were currently working there. And so we are going to go through what would have happened to them if they just stayed in their home country and continued on the path they were, versus what would have happened if they came to the US, got a master's degree, and like how that part would have kind of worked out. So that's the example. And I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. So yeah, in this example, we are going to take a look at Asha, who currently works as a junior data analyst in Bangalore, and she makes around $7,000 a year currently in her current job. And she's currently looking to make the next move in her career, and she has 2 options in front of her. One of the options is to continue with her career and kind of just grow there, stick around and like grow in the company itself. And the second option she has is to kind of quit that company, go to the US and get a master's degree. So she kind of takes some time, she decides what she wants to do, and she decides to actually go to the US and get her master's degree. So in this example, let's see, so she has around $15,000 in savings from the past couple of years that she's been working. And she also has a scholarship from the university that she applied to. And to actually complete her education, she needs around $40,000 extra, more than that, so just so that she can complete her education. So let's say she takes a loan from MPOWER. She takes a 40,000 student loan and she completes her education. And once she graduates, she gets a job in the US as a computer systems engineer, and she makes around $97,000 a year. And she also begins earning her credits towards her permanent residency. Let's take a look at the other example. If she did not go to the US, she would have stayed in India. She would have probably continued working there as well. And maybe in the next 3 to 4 years, she would have got some salary increments, some salary hikes, and would have probably taken her salary to around maybe $10,000. If she's lucky, maybe $15,000. But if you look at the cost benefit analysis of this, she's making around $15,000 staying in her home country versus making around $97,000 in the US. And I think all of us can kind of agree the $97,000 figure is the better one. But to do that, she had to take on a little bit of debt, which was the $40,000 worth of debt. It may take her some time to pay it off, but if you actually do the math on how much it would take, $40,000 worth of debt, and she's making like around almost 2.5 times of that. So she would probably be able to pay off this debt in the next 3 to 4 years. And after that, all the extra money that she's kind of making is all hers. So if you look at this scenario in the long term, she made the right decision by going to the US and getting her master's degrees there. Yeah, I think that's it for me. If anyone has any questions about this example or anything else, please put them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Back to you, Claire.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ron. So we're about at the halfway point. We're a little ahead of schedule. That is fantastic. And so for those that joined a smidge late, some advice to help you get the most of this session. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see the Q&A function. That is where you can drop us questions about anything related to MPOWER. I mean, you can ask us other questions. We might not always respond to those, but please let us know how we can help you, and we'll get back to you during this session. And so, Suryaveer, I'm going to turn it over to you to walk everyone through the MPOWER Financing Loan Application. One common question we hear is, can I get a recording of this webinar, or how could I get a copy? We send those out automatically after this session, so don't feel like you need to write down everything Suryaveer says. You'll get a recording and a copy of the deck. But over to you, Suryaveer.
Thank you, Claire. So let me just quickly share the screen. Is it visible to everyone? All right. So let's begin with the application process. And I know that all of you have different concerns and thoughts regarding how to submit the application and what would be the steps we need to follow. So MPOWER has always kept the application process as streamlined as possible. We have tried to keep it very short, and as you can see on the screen, there are easy 5 steps following which you can simply submit the application. So step 1, I'll just give you an overview and then I'll walk through the details of each step for everyone. So the first step is checking your eligibility. So you need to make sure that first of all, before you can submit your application, that you are compiling the all eligibility requirements that MPOWER has. So few of the eligibility requirement I can just lay over here is that you need to be enroll in one of our partner university and should be enroll in one of our eligible programs. Once you are meeting these requirements, then the most important requirement is that your program should be completing within the 2 years from the day of the application you are applying or the term you are selecting for applying. For example, let's just say if you are starting your program in fall 2023, you should be graduating by fall 2025. So that's within 2 years timeline. So anything more than 2 years, then you would need to wait until and unless you come within the 2 years timeline. And then you should be spending at least 1 semester in the school country for which you are applying. So that is one more eligibility that you have to fulfill. So other eligibility you would be able to see once you are applying or you're checking your eligibility. And if you are not eligible, we would also be mentioning the reason behind it. And if you are, then you would be able to proceed ahead with the next steps. So once you have done the eligibility check, the second step is fulfilling or mentioning your basic information, just like your basic details, your immigration status, your nationality, where you belong from. So simple basic information that you need to fill so that we can move ahead from the second step. once you have done your basic information, the third step is now a more slightly detailed one where you have to mention the university once again, the program you are in, if you have given any exams, what is your current employment status, and rest of the details. So that would be a more detailed one which you would need to fill out. Once you have mentioned these details, the fourth step would be your financial plan. So as an international student, one of the most important criteria or requirement would be maintaining your financial stability, right? And while you are applying for your loan, you would need to see that what are my current financial situation, what kind of funding I'm bringing, or what is the tuition that I'm applying for. So if your university has a different tuition that has been shared with you already, we would recommend you to select those details while you're filling the financial informations. And once these are done, then the final step would be just uploading your valid government ID, which has a photo in it and your date of birth as well. Once these details are being provided, you would be able to submit the loan application. Now let's just go in the deep dive of each step so that you can actually see the real view how you will feel while you're submitting the application. So coming to the first is checking your eligibility. So as soon as you will start and you will click on apply now, you will be asked to mention your name and register your email with us along with your phone number. So as soon as you would do that, you can see that, for example, here Gizam tried to submit a loan application. So we greeted the applicant with their name, and that's how you would be proceeding ahead with the application status. So the first question that has been asked here is what brings you to MPOWER? So, like, it depends upon what is your current situation. Are you thinking about education? Have you already applied to a school, but you have not given any acceptance from the university? Or you have already received an acceptance letter, but you have not started your program yet? Or you can be an existing student as well. So, if you are an undergrad who has already completed the first 2 years and now you need funding for the last 2 years, you are also eligible to apply for MPOWER loan. So you can select you are currently enrolled and that. And if you are also a transfer student, then the last option would be the best one for you to select. So if you are a international transfer student or if you are a domestic transfer student, you can also let us know about those details in next step. So any step that is more suitable for you, you would need to select that, and then you have to go to next step. So once you have mentioned that, then it will ask you what would be your expected graduation date. Now, guys, please be very cautious about this because we have seen many students make an error here and they are not able to submit their application later on. So you need to select a right expected graduation date as per your program end date. So if you are not aware about that, you can check it from your university or the admission counselor who is helping you with your admission process, and let you know that what can be your anticipated graduation date. So and just to remind once again that any date that you're mentioning, if it is more than 2 years than the applied term date, then you would not be eligible. So to complete the eligibility, you have to be within 2 years timeline. Now, once you have done that, we will ask you what kind of program you are doing. So is it master's, MPA, PhD, and any other programs that you are enrolling in? So you can select the best suitable option for you. And then if you are an existing student, we would be happy to know what is your current academic performance. So if you can mention your GPA, that would be best for us. So once you have provided these details, you will move to the next step, which would be another basic details that I mentioned earlier. So we will ask you again about to personalize your application process, basically. So we will like to know how you would like us to greet you and what is your legal first name and your last name and basic details. Once you mention that, then we will be happy to know from which country you're coming from, because we would like to know that which part of the country we are able to help and which country we are trying to assist at this moment. So you would need to mention the country here as per your passport. And if you are like if you are a DACA student or an asylum seeker, then still you would need to mention your original country here. Then we will have the options to select those under the visa status so that you can select it later on. But if you have a dual citizenship here, we would recommend the the citizenship to add here to be the one where you are currently residing, so that you can provide us the proofs and the documentations for the same as well. Then the simple step is to mention your mobile number or the contact number. So which number you would be more convenient for us to reach you out. And we also have a WhatsApp facility available where we provide you notification regarding your statuses. So you can select if you would like to receive any kind of WhatsApp notification, or simply select no and proceed further. Once these steps are done, then we would like to know what is your immigration status. Now, that's why I mentioned that earlier, that if you are a dual citizen, or if you are a DACA resident, or if you are a permanent resident, or if you are an asylum seeker, so you would need to select the right option here so that we can streamline your application in the right manner. And if you are an international student, then definitely you would need to select non-citizen. Otherwise, the application would have wrong information and that could cause a delay. So please select the right immigration status here. And if you already have a visa, then that's really great. You can select yes. If you do not have the visa, then you can mark it no and proceed further. And what type of visa is basically most of the international student apply for F1 visas. So you would need to select the right option over there. But if you are on another visa like H1B or J1, and you would be transferring to F1 later on, or you would be continuing with the same visa status, then we would like to know that as well. So given in the as per the option given, you can select the best suitable options here, or you can also click show more, and all other valid visas options will also be available for you. Once you have done that, let's come to the step 3, which is schools and employment. So as I mentioned, this is also one of the most critical information that we would like to know, and we will request you to mention it perfectly. So as you have mentioned, for example, in this case, we have selected masters. So the degree tab will get auto-populated in your application, and you would be able to see masters here. Once that is done, we would like to know what kind of major you are doing. So you need to select what major you are interested in. Is it a dual degree, or is it a single major program you are trying to do? So if you are a dual degree applicant, then you would need to select yes here. If not, then simply mark it as no. The major can be anything. If you are enrolled in a STEM program like computer science and management science, or it's an MBA program, whatever major you have, you would need to mention there. So, and we would also like to know what kind of program you are enrolling in. Is it a full-time in-campus program, or is it a part-time in-campus program, or is it a hybrid program, like half program you are doing online, or half of it you would be doing the in-campus? So we would like to know those statuses as well, so that we can assist your application in a better way. If your program is a STEM, then simply mark your option yes here. And if it is a non-STEM program, then I request you to mark no over there, because we would like to see the right information. For example, if your program is a non-STEM program and you mark it as a STEM program, then it can cause a delay while we are reviewing your application. So we don't want any back and forth happening with your application processes. So would request you to select, if your program is a STEM, then mark it as yes. If not, then simply mark it as no and proceed further. And if you are not aware about what kind of program you are in, whether it is a STEM or not, because there are certain programs which are related to these fields mentioned, but they are non-STEM program depending on the university you are in. So you can cross-verify it with your academic counselor to have a final confirmation whether your program is a STEM or not, and then select the right option. Once you have filled these steps, then the next step would be school and employment. So all right. So if you are full-time or half-time, you can mention there. And again, we would be asking you about your GPA if you are an existing student. Then we would also like to know which year of your school you are attending. So if you are an undergrad and you are going to your 3rd year graduate, you can mention that. If you are already graduate and you are going for your 1st year master's, you can select the 1st year graduate. So depending on your current situation, you would need to select the right option here and proceed further. Now, once you have mentioned those details, we would slightly like to know more about your exams, or what kind of tests you have given, if any, because most of the universities does require any kind of standard test or If you are an international student and coming from a non-English speaking country, then definitely you would need to give certain English or language tests as well. So any of the language tests that you have given, we would like to know what has been your scores. And if you have given more than two language tests, then that's also good. You can mention both of the options and provide the scorings for the same. And if you have given any kind of standardized test, for example, GRE, GMAT, MCAT, so you would need to select the right option and provide the desired scores. I would like to again recode this. If you have given any of these exams, we would definitely encourage you to mention the details here, even if it is 1 year old, because we would like to know the accurate details about your application. And trust me, these details really help us to maneuver your application and streamline in a best way so that you get the right decision while we are reviewing your application. So once you have given these details, we'll proceed with the next step. And we would like to know, since you are an international student, and mostly we would like to see if you are applying for masters, if you have any kind of past employment history or not. So if you are having no employment history, that doesn't mean that it is going to impact your application. But we would like to understand if you have ever been working, how many years of experience you have been, or if you are already been in currently enrolled. We would also like to know that as well. So you can select the best suitable option out of the one and then proceed further. And if you select like currently employed, we would ask you your current employer details. If you say that you are not currently employed right now, but you have been employed in past, we would like to know how many years of experience you have been. So just basic details you would need to fill so that you can proceed further from here. Now, coming to the fourth and one of the most important step, as I mentioned, is your financial information. Now, being an international student, definitely you would need to see that if you have your financial details available with you. Now, for example, most of the universities have different tuition costs, right? So some universities, your tuition details would be around 80,000, 90,000 requirements. Some would also have 40,000, depending on the course or program and the university you are going through. So we would like to know what is going to be your total tuition requirements. So you would need to mention the cost for 1 year, as you can see on the screen that we are asking for total estimated cost for 1 year. So if you don't have the accurate information, but you know that whatever numbers you have is nearby the accurate one, you can also present the details over there. So once you have mentioned your tuition cost details, we would like to know if you are considering anything for cost of living, because cost of living always differs to person, because if you are an international student and if you are staying in campus, your cost of living will be different. But if you are an international student and you're staying off campus, then your cost of living will be different. So depending on your requirements, you would need to mention the estimated amounts here. Apart from these two details, if you have any other cost that you think that would be required while you complete this program, we would encourage you to mention those costs as well. For example, if you have any health insurance and you would like to that, because one in US that is one of the mandate thing that every international student have to take. So what would be your health insurance cost? You can mention that as well if university has given you already the details in advance. Once you have mentioned these details, then we'll proceed with the next step, which would be just give me a second. Yeah. So once you mention these details, then the system will automatically calculate your total tuition requirements. And don't get confused how this amount is coming up, because if you remember in the start, we have asked you that what is your anticipated graduation date. So as per the details that you have mentioned in the start, we would be calculating what can be your total program requirement, and what you see on the screen is exactly the same example. So the details mentioned there, so you can see the total tuition requirement here is 60,000 for the applicant to complete the program. And if you have any kind of funding that you have available, you can definitely add additional finances sources on the tab. So you have an option of add additional another funding source. You can mention that if you have any kind of scholarship, anyone supporting from your friends and family, that will be considered as family savings. If you have your own personal saving that you would like to add, we would encourage you to add whatever fundings that you can bring on the table. Now, this is very important. That's why I'm taking another minute to explain this, is that the reason why we are asking you to provide your current financial situation or details or whatever support you are coming or bringing is to make sure that we review your application perfectly so that there is no error happening while we are taking any decision on your case. So we would encourage you to always provide the correct and the current financial information that is available and for which you can also provide us the documents to verify the same. Now, then once you mention that, we would like to know what is your actual requirement. So you can mention 40,000, 50,000, or even 100,000 as per your requirement. But just remember that Empower do have a max loan request limit of $100,000 for lifetime. And if you are applying for one semester only, then you can only apply for a maximum amount of $50,000. So if you are applying for one academic year, for example, fall 2023 to spring 2024, then you can request up to $100,000, and you can mention the same in this section. And once you have mentioned these details, then simply click on agree and continue. So once you are done with this, then coming to the last and the final step, which would be your ID verification. So we, as I mentioned in the start, that we would like to have your valid government ID. And if you are an international student, we recommend you to provide your passport because that is one of the mandate document you would also require to travel. So that will help us a lot. But if you don't have a passport right now available and you have applied and you would like to use another ID, then you can definitely use any other government valid ID depending on the country you are coming from. For example, from Nigeria, we do accept national IDs. For India, we do accept Aadhaar card or their driving license. And if you are from US, then we do accept your DL as well. So you can mention or upload these details so that we can proceed further. So once you are done with this, your application will get submitted and a dedicated relationship manager will get assigned to you who would be assisting you further for any other requirements or steps remaining to your application. That's all from my end. Would be happy to take any other questions from related to applications. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a great application walkthrough. And in fact, I do have questions already for you, Suryaveer, that people asked as you were going through the content. But for everyone on the line, we're going to do Q&A in the last 15 or so minutes, which means all the questions you've been asking us throughout this session, we're going to start addressing some of them now. So if you haven't yet asked your burning important question, now is definitely the time in that Q&A field at the bottom of the screen. So Suryaveer, one of the most common questions we got was, when do I apply? And people want to know when's too early, when's too late, and when's ideal. So maybe you can talk about the ideal time to apply for a loan, and then sort of like how early can you actually apply versus when's too late.
So thanks so much, Claire. So definitely, we would be happy to see if you are applying for any university. We would like to know if you are already accepted there or enrolled there, because we need to see here if you are not accepted or you are just planning to consider that university and you don't have the acceptance letter. Even if you submit your loan application, it will not be decision because we would be waiting for your acceptance letter to go forward with the review process. So the ideal time is that if you already have the acceptance available with you and your program term is, for example, fall 2023 has already started now, the right time for spring 2024 is now. So if you are planning to go for spring 2024, you must or you might have already received the acceptance letters for that. So you can start applying for spring 2024 as well. So once you have these documents, that's the best time to apply. But if you don't have and you just want to check the eligibility as well, that is fine. You can definitely do and try to see the number of universities and eligibilities on that area. But if you have the acceptance letter, that's the best time to apply.
So one question we got is, someone's trying to apply for a program in September 24 Suryaveer, and they're having some trouble. Can you explain why they might be applying a little too early?
Oh, so they are applying for fall 2024, right? So yeah, so that's a good. I am very happy for those applicants who are too curious and they want to know early whether they will have their financial situation in control or not before fall 2024 comes. So definitely we encourage you to apply, but we would like to, as I mentioned, would need your admission letter. So if you already have the admission letter, because we have seen some cases where students have already received their fall 2024 acceptance letter in advance, along with the scholarship in few cases. So if you have these documents already available, definitely you can apply. But right now, if you're applying for fall 2024, you can only apply for one semester as of now. So we have not yet started for entire fall 2024 to spring 2025 academic year plan. So you would be only able to select one semester as of now, since that is more than 12 months as of now. So we are not opening that window. Once we would be in spring 2024, you would be also able to apply for spring 2025 or entire academic year for fall 2024 to spring 2025. So as of now, we are just expecting fall 2024 as the last term or the latest term available.
So for our friend applying for September 24, you're just a smidge early. Congratulations for getting in, but we will open it up about a year ahead of your program. So hope that helps. And so, Ron, I have a similar question for you, which is, what if someone needs money now because their program starts now? What do they do if they have an urgent need and maybe they didn't plan it out earlier in the year?
Sure. So the person can apply. Currently, our processing times are pretty good compared to last year. Like, I think we are still able to maintain the 5 business day turnaround time once we receive all your documents. So actually, I want to take you all through the entire process once quickly so everyone understands kind of what happens at the back end as well. So what happens is once you guys complete your
Real
application.
quick,
Yeah.
Ron. So everyone, what Ron's going to take you through is you've gone through the entire application of Suryaveer and you push submit. Once you push submit, Ron's going to pick it up and tell you what happens.
Yeah. So basically what happens as soon as you click submit is we have an automated system that kind of works 90% of the time, where you'll get a loan decision from us, I think within half an hour, which either says you've been conditionally approved. And once you get that, that means you have kind of been approved based on the information that you submitted on the application.
It's always functional. It works 100% of the time. You'll receive a decision 90% of the time. Cool.
Yeah, sorry about that. And okay, so where was I? So yeah, once you submit and you get that conditional offer decision, that decision is based only on the information that you input in your application. What we need after that is all the documents that match whatever information that you input in your application. And that's the second step. That step I think takes the most time. Once you actually submit all your documents, usually it's around 7 to 8 documents that you kind of need to submit to us. And these documents just verify all the information that you put in when you were filling out your application. Once we get that, our team actually just reviews the application within 5 to 7 days, and they actually verify, does the documents you submitted match the information that you input in the application? If everything looks good, then you get a decision from us within that time frame. So going back to the question, if you're trying to fund for this semester, technically in the US, your school would have either started this week or it may be starting next week. In Canada, your school is probably starting in September sometime. So apply as soon as possible. Like apply right now if you have your admission letter, and we'll be able to process it within like 5 to 7 days. Total processing time, including like all the regulations, wait times that we have to go with, I would say the total processing time would be around 10 to 15 days. So if you apply today, in 15 days, you'll be able to send the funds to your school if you get approved.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ron. And so, Silver, going over to you, we have some questions about what the loan can be used for. Some people gave us a nice list of things they want to use MPOWER's dollars for, but maybe you can help share what the loan can be used for in the US versus Canada.
Sure. So generally, you can use our loan to pay for your tuition. Either you're studying in the US or studying in Canada. And if you are studying in the US, and you can also use our loan to pay for your living expense, which means that your housing, your meals, your transportation. And if you're in Canada, most likely that we do not support living expense, that we only support your tuition. Yeah.
And by we support, these policies are determined by your school, not MPOWER. So if you're ever in doubt, definitely check with your school to see how the loan can be used. They'll be able to help you more about their specific policies. Cool. Thank you, Silver. And so, Ron, I am back to you with a very popular question. What are the most common reasons for applications to get declined? And if my application is declined, what do I do next?
Okay. So some of the most common reasons, I think the most common one is you have exceeded your debt burden. I think I saw a lot of questions about that. So that basically means we do not think at the time of graduation you will make enough kind of money to help support your loan payment. And that's why your application got declined. And the reason we do that is once you graduate, if you're not able to make these loan payments, it's a very, very bad situation for anyone to be in. Basically, you wouldn't make enough money to cover the loan payments, and because of that, you may not be able to cover your living expenses, things like that. So things can get very dire. So that's why that's one of the main reasons for declines that we see. I think that's one of the top reasons for declines. And along with that, you'll also see the other one. I saw another example in chat where someone asked me about excessive gap decline and what that means. That one basically means even if we give you $100,000 to fund your education, you still need more money. And $100,000 is the max that Empower can fund you. And that's the reason, because we can't fund more than $100,000. That's the reason those kinds of applications get declined. And the other ones are pretty common. Like one is for GPA. If your GPA is really low, that's one reason for decline. If you have past delinquent or present credit obligations with any other lender, this basically means in the past, if you ever not paid a loan or not paid a credit card and it's gone into default or you file for bankruptcy, those are also reasons for decline.
So, Ron, if someone had a mark on their credit report and they've gotten it addressed, when can they reapply?
Oh, if you're able to fix your credit report, as soon as you can see your credit report and it's fixed on it, you can reapply. And yeah, that's good. But you have to make sure it's clear on the credit report and not just a letter from the bank. If you only get a letter from the bank and it's still not clear on the credit report, we cannot accept that.
Thank you so much, Ron. So, Suryaveer, I think our last question before we start closing up is going to you. But so how do people get in touch if they want to change something in their application? And we can go a few different scenarios for us, but what's the best way to reach out if they need to make a change?
So the best way to reach out is to directly contact us at empower.me@empowerfinancing.com. Any which ways, once your application is submitted, we would be reaching out, or your relationship manager would be reaching out regarding the requirements and for the process of your application. We do also have our direct helpline numbers. You can definitely call on those numbers to reach out for a quick assistance if required for any case of urgency. But we would recommend, if you have any basic updates or requirements, you can simply send us an email at empower.me@empowerfinancing.com, and your relationship manager will get back to you.
Maybe we can provide that email address in the chat too, so in case people.
Yeah.
One of us will get to it, but thanks so much. So we're in the last 5 minutes. That means that if you haven't had a question answered by us yet, now is a great time to put an email address in the chat so we can get back to you. Heads up that we don't automatically know who you are in our Zoom chat. So if you don't give us contact details, we actually cannot get back to you, unfortunately. Zoom doesn't allow that. So if you need us to get back to you, definitely please let us know in the chat there. But so panelists, I have 2 questions I love to close with, and I'm going to ask each of these questions. And one is, what is your advice for our future international students? So that's 1. And then 2 is, why do you think MPOWER is the best loan product or best company for international students? We know it is, but we need to make sure our audience knows that too. So I'm going to start with Silver. So 2 questions. Why is MPOWER the best? And what is your 1 piece of advice for everyone?
Okay, thank you. Why MPOWER is the best? So what I really like about MPOWER is that we are trying our best to help international students as we can, not only provide funding by providing loan, that we also providing scholarships, that we have the Path to Success program to help you to secure a job after you graduate. And we also sometimes have the visa live sessions to help you to figure out how to apply for a visa to go to the US or Canada. And we have the immigration lawyer that we actually work with. They have the expertise to help you to answer some questions that you may have. So that's why I like MPOWER. And advice for international students that if you are still thinking about study, I would say that if you are short of money to pay for your tuition or living expense, definitely take advantage of lenders like MPOWER. just don't give up. If you are stuck in your application process that you're required to ask for documents, always communicate with your relationship manager and tell them your concern, your confusion, and I'm sure they will help you as much as they can to help you to get an approval from us and to secure your funding for your education overseas.
Thank you, Silver. So Suryaveer, I'm going to ask you next. What is your tip and why is MPOWER awesome?
Yeah, so MPOWER is awesome, definitely, because we are trying our level best to assist each and every applications that come across our board. And it's not about just the decision, like if you get a approval from MPOWER, then yes, MPOWER is good. But definitely, if you are not being able, or we are not being able to support you at this time, that also means something, because what we are trying to do is not to just give a loan to you, but also to direct you in the right way, because we want that you should manage your financials at the right time, and you should be thinking about if you don't get the approval from MPOWER. Let's just take one situation here. So if we are not able to assist you, then you need to rethink about the university or the program you are going through, and you have to rework on your financial details, because what we don't want to do here is that give you something and then you don't, if you get burden out of that in future and you are not able to repay, or let's just say you're facing more financial hardship by doing this program at this moment of your life, then it will be very difficult for you to even recover or come back from that situation. So as an international student, what we try to provide is the right advice and the right decision to our applicants. So that's why I feel that why we are the best, because we are trying to give and assist as much as we can, along with whatever Silver and Rod would be communicating today with the fixed interest rate and all the other merits of MPOWER. But the advice for you all would be definitely try to talk to your relationship manager and understand why the decision was not in your favor, and if it is in your favor, how quick we can proceed ahead with the disbursement or other if there's further documents required, because just want to quote that we would require a visa as a recommended document before we can make any disbursement in future. So if you have not uploaded it yet, please go ahead and upload it to the application so that we can proceed ahead with the disbursement on timely manner. So that's one advice for the disbursement. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Suryaveer. So Ron, what is your tip and why is MPOWER great?
Yeah, I think both of these guys covered the people aspect of the company. I'm going to go with just product details. So I think Empire is one of the best places because it has a fixed rate interest product, and in the rising interest rate environment, nothing can really beat it in this environment. So that's why it's the best product for everyone out there. And not only that, we also provide like a lot of support services, because once you get the loan from us, you have the Path to Success program that you can take part in. You have a network that you can kind of leverage if you're an Empower borrower. We provide, I think we provide resume kind of thing, resume reviews. We also provide, I think, mock interviews as well. So I think all those benefits kind of make us the differentiator and being the best product out there. And the second question is advice for international students. I think I say this at every webinar. My advice to everyone is to kind of be more open when you come to the US. Be open to new experiences, be open to learning new things. I can guarantee you'll get a little bit of a culture shock once you are here, depending on whichever country you're in. And yeah, you'll get a culture shock. Embrace that culture shock, try to learn from it, and yeah, that'll actually help you on in your future as well. So that's the first part. Second one is also network a lot. Networking is what actually helps you land a job in the US. I would say start networking from day one. Start meeting your professors. Also, don't just network with people in your program or like your class. Try to network with everyone in your college. Like say if you're doing finance, also maybe network with people who are doing engineering, physics, things like that. So basically network with everyone in your college. You never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. So
I should have like a session called Tips with Ron. I think you could have kept going. But thank you everyone for attending our application walkthrough today. As promised, we'll send out the deck we reviewed as well as a recording of the webinar, so you can go back and catch anything you may have missed or want to hear again. And we'll also send out a survey We read every single survey. We use it to make the program better. So please call out things that went well for you, things we can do better. We'd love to make this program better for everyone. And so if you look in the chat, you'll see that we've dropped some links that you can quickly copy and paste that have materials about each of the things we reviewed today. And then otherwise, we hope you see you at our next live session, which I believe is in 2 weeks. So see you guys there. Thanks, panelists. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.